Sidbi should stop being in that comfort zone of I'm a lender to the small enterprises. You're now going to be the market maker. You're now going to be the risk-sharing partner for all the MSMEs and for the entire startup ecosystem. I also expect Sidbi to deepen the venture capital debt market for startups so that innovative enterprises have access to patient, flexible, and growth-oriented capital. There is a need to expand cash flow-based lending and digital lending partnerships, especially for micro and first-time borrowers. Delayed payments remain a critical challenge for MSMEs, with an estimated 8.1 lakh crore locked in delayed payments and affecting working capital and growth. So when I say this number, it's not a number just at the central government's doorstep. It's not a number which is pending payments of the public sector enterprises of Government of India. No, not at all. This is the total number. It can be a private entrepreneur to an MSME. It can be a commercial enterprise, a large one, which has dues to the MSME. It can be the state PSUs which have a due to the MSME. So let's be clear. This is a total figure. And even as I say this, I assure you periodically I review the public sector undertakings under the Government of India to make sure that they don't exceed the 45-day limit by which they have to pay the dues to the MSMEs. And they shall not be sitting over their dues. That is being done by us. So therefore, my message to Sidbi and to every banker here is that standard products cannot serve non-standard businesses. A farmer-linked enterprise does not earn every month. A resort does not earn evenly through the year. A garment exporter waits for payment after shipment. A small auto component supplier waits for invoice clearance. A woman entrepreneur may have regular transactions, yet no property in her name. Then, why should all of them be given the same repayment structure? This is where Sidbi must lead. Credit must be designed around the business cycle of the enterprise. For agri-processing MSMEs, say in Nashik, Satara, Sangli, Vidarbha, repayments can be linked to harvest cycles. A grape processor, turmeric unit, or a pulse mill earns when the crop comes. Their credit should allow seasonal repayment and off-season flexibility. For textile and garment units in Ichal Karanji or Solapur, credit must understand export cycle. If an order takes 90 days, finance should combine pre-shipment credit, post-shipment support, and currency risk protection. For tourism and hospitality enterprises in Mahabaleshwar, Matheran, Lonavla, loans should recognize seasonality. When earnings come in 4 strong months, repayment should breathe with that cycle. For contract manufacturers in Pune, Chakan, Nagpur, invoices can become the basis of finance. Threads and gem linkages and invoice discounting can ensure that a supplier does not suffer only because payment comes after 60 or 90 days. Maharashtra also has a strong base of defense MSMEs across Pune, Nagpur, Ahmednagar. Those enterprises, Ahmednagar, I think the name is changed. I'm saying Ahmednagar, it is called Nagar, but it has got a different name, I think. Sorry, those of you from Maharashtra. Ahilya Nagar, sorry. So, defense MSMEs across Pune, Nagpur and Ahilya Nagar should also have a different treatment given to them. These enterprises need order cycle financing, technology upgradation loans, and working capital that understands long procurement cycles. Sidbi also should build strong green credit products. The world is moving towards green standards. MSMEs will need finance for solar rooftops, energy efficient machinery, green certification, and waste to wealth units. Today's initiatives already point in this direction. The Sidbi RRB co-lending platform will also make credit deeper into rural and semi-rural India. The MORE program will modernize rural enterprises. The Sidbi MSME Exchange Machinery Portal will connect machinery discovery with finance. Now Sidbi should take this further. The aim should be to provide right credit for the right enterprise and at the right time for the right purpose. So I hope in the banking arena, Sidbi will show the path in which we will move in the right direction. That's how MSMEs will move from survival, and that's how MSMEs will move from survival to scale. So in conclusion, you've been very patient hearing me all the while. Let me close with a larger frame. Today, more than 32 crore Indians, as I said earlier, are employed in and through the MSME ecosystem. If we get MSME credit right, we get the Indian middle class right. If we get the Indian middle class right, we get Vikasit Bharat right. It is that direct. So don't you think about Vikasit Bharat somewhere, MSME somewhere else, and don't you think about we can do our banking the way we want and think all of them are disconnected. You're directly linked towards the vision that is Vikasit Bharat. It's not any one person or one leader's or one prime minister's vision. It's a vision for all of us Indians who within a generation are seeing transformational changes happening in this country despite the naysayers. And we cannot undermine the move towards Vikasit Bharat. If anything, we should help it. So if we get the middle class right, as I said, we'll get Vikasit Bharat right. Everything that the government has announced, the equity infusion, the doubled guarantee cover, the SME growth fund, the TREDS reforms, the classification reforms, instruments for such as the corporate mitras, the credit cards, the stand-up scheme, every one of these instruments exist to answer a single question. And that single question is, how does India's MSME owner grow her enterprise without being held back by the cost of capital, the weight of compliance, or the gap between her and the customer? All those questions which were pertinently asked right at the beginning when you showed the video. So that's the question this government has committed itself to address, and it is that question the Sidbi on its 36-year completion, entering into 37th year, is being asked to answer with imagination. The support is being given. I want Sidbi to answer it with brilliant imagination. To every MSME owner in this room, the government is building the rails. Sidbi is being asked to build the imaginative products that turn and run on them. Our banks and our RRBs will carry them till the last mile. Your job is to build. I'm telling the MSMEs. Your job is to build, to hire, to export, and to innovate. We are here to support you and back you. So congratulations, Sidbi, and the entire Sidbi family on your 36th Foundation Day. Jai Hind. Secretary DFS, CMDs of several of the public sector banks, the beneficiaries of Sidbi and RRB's co-lending, and the media. Since 1990, Sidbi has been undertaking as a premier financial institution the promotion, financing, and the development of MSMEs. It's a unique organization, primarily aiming to support India's growth through banking for the MSME sector. So India's growth story cannot move forward without micro, small, and medium enterprises, and therefore the role of Sidbi becomes all the more important. Today's launches are therefore tailored to address the real needs of the MSMEs. The real needs such as easier credit, better machines, modern technology, rural enterprise support, and also stronger market linkages. So with all these kept in mind, Sidbi has come about with some specific tailor-made approaches which can help the beneficiaries or the MSMEs. So the three important initiatives which have been launched, I'd like to recall them. First is the Sidbi RRB co-lending platform. This will combine Sidbi's MSME financing experience, the technology, with the grassroots reach of the regional rural banks. This was said, it was also shown in the video that we saw, but it is worth underlining this point. In the process of wanting to develop institutions which can support economic activity, at various times since 1947, in India, you've had institutions set up by the government. Sidbi is one such, 1990s. And the regional rural banks have existed, being sponsored by the bigger banks, sponsored by also somewhat participating some states, and so on. So the RRBs were going with the rural environment and rural economy in mind. Sidbi-like institutions are being set up with a particular sector or area of activity in mind. They've run parallelly. But it was one very random thought of why not have the synergy created between the two, and that is why that idea of co-lending came about. It will certainly help the MSMEs in rural and semi-urban areas, and they can now get better, faster, and more formal credit. The platform will also use an STP-based digital joint lending model and aims at faster MSME credit access in rural and semi-urban areas. The second initiative, the modernization of rural enterprise, very attractively acronymed MORE program. This will support rural and non-farm enterprises. And the Sidbi CMD was explaining to me before I came here that, as was shown in the video, small units in rural areas, such as the jaggery making unit, these are examples. They are not confining themselves only to those activities. So jaggery making units, oil expellers, pottery and flour mills